Is Jaron Boots Ennis really ready to face Terence Crawford, or is he just all talk? While Ennis claims he wants a shot at the superstar, he's staying put in the 147-pound division, defending his title against low-profile fighters rather than moving up to challenge Crawford head-on. Fans are starting to question his commitment, with some suggesting he's playing it safe to avoid risking his career and paycheck. Is Ennis protecting his undefeated streak, or is he truly looking for a way to prove himself against boxing's best? The path he chooses next could make or break his legacy. Jaron Boots Ennis has been vocal about wanting to fight boxing superstar Terence Crawford, but his actions don't align with that ambition. Although he's expressed interest in a fight with Crawford, Ennis has chosen to remain in the 147-pound division, where he holds the IBF title. Instead of moving up in weight to 154 pounds, which would place him in a stronger position to challenge Crawford, Ennis is staying in what some see as his safe zone. By defending his title against lesser-known opponents, he avoids taking on tougher challenges, which raises doubts about his commitment to landing a big fight with Crawford. This decision to stay put makes it look like Ennis is prioritizing a steady, less risky path rather than pushing himself toward the big opportunities he claims to want. Ennis's choice to stay in the 147-pound division has allowed him to build a comfortable career without having to face Crawford or the many skilled fighters at 154 pounds. Defending his belt against relatively unknown opponents, such as Jaron has become a way for Ennis to maintain a stable income without the higher risk of a loss. In this safe spot at 147, he doesn't have to worry about facing Crawford's level of competition or potentially exposing weaknesses in his own game. This strategy has led some to believe that Ennis is comfortable with where he is and may not be willing to take the kinds of risks that could lead to career-defining fights. For Ennis, the potential risk of facing Crawford could be career-altering, which may explain his cautious approach. A loss to Crawford would not only impact his reputation but could also jeopardize the paychecks he's currently receiving from Eddie Hearn's Matchroom Promotions. If Ennis were to lose, he might no longer be seen as a promising contender and could find himself struggling to secure notable fights in the 154-pound division. In such a competitive weight class, Ennis would face even tougher opposition, which might make it harder for him to regain the attention and income he's used to. Staying at 147 and avoiding Crawford could be a way for Ennis to keep his career steady, even if it means missing out on the high-stakes fights he says he wants. Eddie Hearn, as a promoter, expects his fighters to take on real challenges and prove they belong in his prestigious Matchroom roster. So far, though, Ennis has not demonstrated the ambition or courage needed to secure his place in the lineup by aiming for high-stakes fights with Crawford or other big names. Hearn's fighters are expected to show they're willing to take risks and face top competitors, yet Ennis's actions suggest he may be avoiding that path. For Ennis to become a true star, he needs to start stepping up and taking on tougher opponents, but as of now, he hasn't shown that drive. Many fans and analysts believe that unless Ennis begins taking on high-caliber fighters, he might not achieve the success he could otherwise reach. Ennis's lack of a bold personality outside the ring also means that he can't rely on charisma alone to build his brand. Unlike some fighters who capture attention with their larger-than-life personas, Ennis needs to prove himself by winning against top-tier competition. Right now, however, he seems to be sticking with fights that don't push him toward the elite status he claims to seek. Hearn, sooner or later, may realize that Ennis isn't showing the ambition necessary to rise to the next level, which could eventually affect his standing within Matchroom Promotions. Recently, in a conversation with Ariel Helwani's channel, Ennis expressed his frustration with repeatedly being asked about fighting Crawford. He claimed he's already said yes to the fight and suggested the question should now be directed at Crawford. However, given his current approach, some may still question Ennis's commitment to making the fight a reality. Another factor influencing Ennis's cautious approach might be the financial stability he enjoys by staying in the 147-pound division. Fighting in this weight class against relatively unknown opponents allows Ennis to maintain a steady income stream without taking the risks associated with moving up to face stronger competition. For many fighters, this balance between earning a good income and managing career risks is tempting, especially when the alternative is a potentially career-changing fight against a top fighter like Crawford. This may suggest that Ennis's motivation is more focused on securing his financial future than on establishing a legacy by fighting the best. While this choice isn't uncommon in boxing, it often leads fans to question a fighter's true intentions and commitment to their career's potential. Moreover, there's a perception that Ennis is wary of a possible loss to Crawford because of what it would mean for his career trajectory. A defeat to an elite fighter like Crawford could impact not only Ennis's standing in the boxing world but also his future marketability. Boxing is a sport where an undefeated record or a strong winning streak significantly boosts a fighter's profile, making them more appealing for high-profile bouts and promotional deals. For Ennis, the risk of losing to Crawford might outweigh the potential benefits of the fight, especially since it could result in him being seen as just another contender rather than a future champion. This caution highlights the dilemma faced by many fighters, who must weigh their current success against the long-term gains of pursuing more challenging bouts. Ennis's approach to his career has drawn criticism from fans who believe he should be taking bolder steps to secure his place among boxing's elite. For many boxing enthusiasts, the excitement lies in seeing fighters actively seeking out the toughest opponents to prove their skill and grit. In Ennis's case, some fans are disappointed by his reluctance to move up to 154 pounds and face Crawford or other top fighters, as this would showcase his abilities on a larger stage. This criticism suggests that the public's interest in a fighter often depends on their willingness to take risks, and by not pursuing these high-stakes opportunities, Ennis risks losing fan support. In boxing, fighters who consistently seek out challenging opponents often build a more lasting legacy, and Ennis may be missing a critical opportunity by playing it safe. Finally, if Ennis wants to prove that he's serious about taking his career to the next level, he'll eventually need to step outside of his comfort zone. Moving up to 154 and actively pursuing a fight with Crawford or another top contender would demonstrate his commitment to establishing himself as a true force in the boxing world. For now, he may continue defending his title against lesser-known opponents, but if he aims to solidify his place as a top fighter, he'll have to show more initiative. As fans grow increasingly impatient with his current approach, Ennis will need to make a decisive move to maintain his reputation and ensure that he's remembered as more than just a title holder in a comfortable weight class. This next phase of his career could define how he's remembered in the sport, but it will require him to embrace the challenges he's been avoiding. In the end, Jaron Boots Ennis faces a defining choice: keep defending his title against lesser-known fighters or step up to challenge Terence Crawford and prove he's truly elite. Staying in his comfort zone might keep his record intact, but fans are eager to see if he has what it takes to make it in the big leagues. To reach true stardom, Ennis will need to show he's ready to take on the best risks and all. If he's serious about his legacy, it's time for him to make a bold move that will silence the doubters and show he's more than just a rising star in the boxing world.